The following program may contain coarse language, violence, nudity, mature subject matter, or scenes which may not be suitable for all viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Good evening, one and all. This is the X Zone. I am Rob McConnell, coming to you from our broadcast center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada. And if you'd like to send me an email, it's xzone at xzoneradiotv.com. On all social media sites, Xzone Radio TV. And we're coming to you tonight around the world on the X Zone Broadcast Network, Talkstar Radio Network, Mutual Broadcast Network, and on Simul TV Channel 34. Now, speaking about Simul TV, I had the pleasure of talking to my good friend, the owner of Simul TV, Mr. Steve Turner, last night. And he gave me some exciting news that I have to share with you. For one thing, in the month of February, thanks, Craig, 168 million viewers around the world tuned into Simul TV. That in itself is astounding. But here's the real great news. In a few days, we're going to be launching a website. It's called 50forfree, 50forfree.ca. And what you will have on that website, thanks to our good friends at Simul TV, are 50 of their top channels, including the X Zone, of course, 90 video games. That's right, I said 90 video games in 5 languages, plus thousands of movies, video on demand. And you know what? All this is free. 100% free, no strings attached, nothing. It's a brand new concept. Simul TV is leading the world. And this is from the X Zone TV channel and Simul TV. My guest tonight is a gentleman I've had the pleasure of knowing, well, we were talking before we went on air, for nearly 20 years. His name is HAYES, and he is recognized as one of the top 25 psychic mediums in the United States and best-selling author. And in my books, he's got to be one of the top 3. A lot of good times with Rick. He's a down-to-earth guy. He's the real thing. His website, LifesGift.com. And joining me now is the one and only Rick Hayes. And Rick, welcome to the X Zone, my good friend. Nice seeing you.
What a pleasure to be back in the X Zone. Thank you very much, Rob. It's great to see you.
So how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing just great. We talked a little bit about before we went on air about my birthday, and
yes, belated happy birthday.
Thank you, and you know, I just consider I've got another. You know, biblical says we're supposed to live 120 years here, so I'm about halfway.
Oh, God bless you, Rick. Rick, let me ask you this question. I've always wanted to ask you this, and you know, I made a note and I got it here on my desk. What is it like for somebody like you? Like I said, you're the real McCoy. You're down to earth. You're a real person. You're as honest as the day is long. What is it like after all these years of helping all the people that you've helped? How does that make you feel, my friend?
You know, I never get tired of being inspired, and you know, not just inspired by the abilities and gifts I've been given to share and serve others in the last 20 plus years, but also just to be even more inspired with each day that, you know, that I wake up, and it's an incredible what the day's going to bring me, and you know, for what I do and sharing the messages of those in the next part of life to those, and receiving the validations from those that I share the messages with. It's inspiring for me. You know, everyone feels that I bring them something as far as inspiration, but well, it really actually I'm the one that's being inspired each time. So, you know, I just sit back each day and think, I can't believe it's been over 20 years now. You know, and I remember when I first started, didn't know where I was going to go with this. Didn't know if, and you've heard me share this many times, I didn't know if they was going to put me in a rubber room. But it's the last 20 plus years has built a reputation for me that that, you know, I'm going to be the straight up and tell you like it is. And this is what I feel about things and what I receive through my abilities. And it's inspiring, Rob. It's just inspiring every day.
For the audience who haven't had the pleasure of listening or seeing you here on the show over the many years, tell them about yourself. How did you get started? How did you know that Rick Hayes had the gift?
Well, it's actually, I feel like I was born with these abilities, and I've said this for many years. I feel like we're all born with talents and skills and abilities, and I was no exception. I recognized them early in my life as a little child, but you know, growing up in the community, in the small community I grew up in, we didn't talk about it. I didn't talk about it. I just wanted to be the normal kid with friends, and so we didn't talk about it until a little over 20 years ago. But I recognized them early. I recognized the experience I recall as a child was recognizing my, you know, a family member that was in my room was telling me things, and this family member had already passed when I was 7 months old, and I was about 3 or 4 or 5 at the time. And I just accepted it. That's what I did. I just accepted. And people have asked me, have I ever been scared of what I see? I've never been scared, because I just accept it, and to this day I still accept what's there. So I consider myself a normal person, you know, and
yeah. I consider you to be a very normal person.
Yeah, and really everyone, and I've been teaching this. We talked about this earlier. I've been teaching this in the last 3 or 4 years, that individuals are becoming more open to their own spiritual abilities and more open to spiritual thought. And so, you know, I'm grateful to know that in the last 20 years, I've learned myself, and being able to share this with others to inspire them.
Exo Nation, our guest this hour is Rick Hayes. He is a psychic medium. His website is LifesGift.com. Rick, for over the past 20 years in the field, what changes have you seen in the industry? You see, when you and I first met, it wasn't an industry.
No.
But now it's turned into an industry. And how has this changed the world for a credible psychic medium like yourself?
Well, just like in any industry, Rob, you're going to have those that come and go.
Yeah.
And I really feel that if you're not serving as you should with the abilities you've been given, it's the time frame you're going to have is temporary. So in the last 20 years, I've seen someone come and go. For those who are really embracing what they've been given and sharing their abilities, I've seen them sustain through all the changes in this world. And you know, one of the things that we talked about before we went on air is that in the last 2 or 3 years, I have really seen individuals becoming more open, more thought, and more open to be open in more thought in the spiritual realm, and not to take just what the tradition has taught you through the years, but to also open up your own thoughts and open up your own feelings, what you're feeling within, and guide them with that. So I've seen that quite a lot in the last 2 or 3 years. I get a lot of individuals, especially in the last 4 or 5 years, I've been given the opportunity to kind of mentor other individuals who's recognizing them, and they're no longer as afraid as they used to be. So that's the changes I've been seeing.
You know, I've had the opportunity of speaking to many psychic mediums over the years, Rick, doing this show. I think we're in our 34th year now. And you know, I talked to you today as I talked to you many, many years ago. You know, you're the true Rick Hayes, you know, but I've had people come back on the air where the ego has gotten to them. And it's like, oh man, you sold your soul to the devil kind of thing, you know, and it seems that they want to build themselves in a persona that glorifies themselves and break away from the one-on-one heartfelt conversations that they used to have. And I think that's a pity.
It is. It is. One of the things I share is that if you acknowledge your abilities, and we do have those in the industry that they're looking for the limelight, the spotlight. Yeah. And I look at that as just for the moment. it's a moment, it's a temporary. If you really are truly acknowledging your abilities and what you've been given, you'll make it a purpose. You'll make it a lifetime. And, I'm fortunate enough now, I've done television, but I'm fortunate enough now that I can turn down, I have other television shows that want me to be a part, but they also want me to be scripted. And I share with them the way it's like, no, you got me. This is who I am. I'm not changing that. And so I've had the opportunity now, and my reputation is built where I can turn down these shows. But I've seen those who have sustained and maintained their purpose, and it's been through in many years, just like myself. But I've seen those who came and they had one purpose, and that was to get the spotlight and the limelight. And that is just for a moment. Those are the individuals, if they're not following their true purpose and their path, they're going to have about a 3 to 5 year window, and then next thing you know, they're doing something different. So
Rick, before we go to our first break, I'd like you to ask you, in your opinion, Rick, what is a spirit?
A spirit is simply us.
Simply us.
Yeah, it's simply us. This is my thoughts, that when we're created, we're a spirit to begin. And that is what I call original body. We are placed into this earth, and we evolve into a physical body. The physical body is a vessel for us to learn and grow and experience here in this life. And then once we complete this part of life, we simply, what I call transcend, or we go into the next part of life. And we leave the vessel we're in, the earthly body, and we transit into our original body, which is the body of spirit. It's a cycle. It's a learning cycle. That's what we continually do. So those I see in what many would call in the light and in the next part of life are simply those who have had experience in an earthly body at one time. I do have those at times that come as celestial beings, but the majority of times it is those who have experienced life here. It's just us. It's us.
Just us. Yeah. Just us in the next chapter of our existence.
Exactly. Good way to put it.
Rick, stand by, my friend. You and I have to take our first break. Index Donation, like I've said, our guest this hour is the one and only Rick Hayes. His website is LifesGift.com. This is the X Zone. I am Rob McConnell. We'll both be back on the other side of this break. Don't go away.
Question: what is the name of the unique blend of coffee you get that has been formulated by a neurologist, a neurobiologist, and a pharmaceutical chemist? Answer: you get Beautiful Mind Coffee, a unique coffee blend that tastes great and has herbal ingredients that your brain will love, and it is not just coffee, it's brainalicious. Dr. Rathbone, Dr. Jang, and Dr. Winslow, the scientific team that created Beautiful Mind Coffee, decided to collaborate on a coffee focusing on brain health. As for those herbal ingredients found in Beautiful Mind Coffee, Dr. Rathbone, Dr. Jang, and Dr. Winslow, utilizing their combined extensive scientific research background, worked with many natural and herbal products until the exact formulation that is found in Beautiful Mind Coffee was created. With a unique scientific formula not found in any other coffee being sold or served, Beautiful Mind Coffee is the only coffee blend that contains 3 herbal ingredients found to aid in boosting your daily mental clarity and focus. Every cup of Beautiful Mind Coffee contains scientifically formulated amounts of maca root powder, green tea extract, and American ginseng, all supporting good brain health. Taking care of your brain's health now can help delay or prevent the onset of cognitive dysfunction, including dementia, Alzheimer's, and more general memory loss as you get older, just by enjoying the delicious flavor of our roasted coffee and herbal ingredients found exclusively in Beautiful Mind Coffee. Did you know that cognitive dysfunction also refers to deficits in attention, verbal and non-verbal learning, short-term and working memory, visual and auditory processing, problem-solving, processing speed, and motor functioning? For more on Beautiful Mind Coffee, the 3 scientists who formulated Beautiful Mind Coffee, and more details on the 3 unique herbal ingredients in Beautiful Mind Coffee, visit www.beautifulmindcoffee.ca. Beautiful Mind Coffee is now available online at amazon.ca and amazon.com. To order Beautiful Mind Coffee, visit www.beautifulmindcoffee.ca today.
Welcome back, everyone. This afternoon, I learned some very sad news. Kevin Randall, who is the host of A Different Perspective here on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, his wife, Deb, passed away after a long battle with cancer. So to Kevin, his family, and all his loved ones, our deepest condolences. And you are all in our thoughts and prayers. Rick Hayes is our special guest this hour, www.lifesgift.com. And Rick, welcome back, old friend.
Thank you. It's as always, it's a pleasure, Rob.
Thanks, my friend. What do you think about all these different organizations and groups that try to go and expose ghosts, catch ghosts, hunt ghosts? And I love asking them. I said, what are you going to hunt a ghost for? Are you going to kill it? You know, like, hunt is a pretty serious word. What do you think about all these groups that are just popping up out of the woodwork?
Well, I think it shows the strength of this industry. I don't want to call it even an industry, a lifestyle of individuals wanting to learn more. A lot of it has to do with curiosity. You know, that's a human function to have curiosity. I have been a part of what they would call paranormal investigations. In fact, I'll share with you this weekend, I'm in a private group. We're going to a place that's considered famous in this industry. It's called the Waverly Hills Sanatorium.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah.
Kentucky. And I was just there a few weeks ago for my own event, a big event there. And we did investigations there. But what we're finding is there are those, just like in any industry, there are those that are focused on learning and focused on trying to find more about what ghosts are. And then there are those who are just wanting to see what happens and have a little thrill. I do. There are some thoughts that I share that are not in the realm of the industry. For example, you hear on some of these TV shows, they say, well, we trapped a spirit, or, you know, we trapped a spirit in a box, and I'm the first to tell you, you can't trap a spirit. I mean, if you see a shadow going through a wall in a building, well, if they can go through walls, how can you trap? You know,
Exactly.
So you know, I feel like they're just there because they choose to be. So I'm for it. I'm for those who are, you know, I say to do it in a respectful way. You just like if you didn't want someone to come in your home and say, you know, come and get me, or are you here? You know, so we're going into their locations where they choose to be. So show respect when you do that and learn. That's the whole key, is to learn.
The Waverly has been talked about, I don't know how many times here on this show. And I often wonder, well, why do the spirits remain there? Do they actually get an enjoyment out of interacting with people on this side of the veil?
Some do.
Yeah.
Some do. Some. For example, the Waverly is. I was fortunate enough to be one of the first psychic mediums to be invited before it got popular there over 20 years ago, and right away I felt the presence, and I connect what I call connect there. But through the years, what I found is they're understanding those. Again, keep in mind that those in spirit are choosing to be where they want to be. They're not trapped there. They choose to be there. Just like the Waverly, there are many, many thousands of individuals who went through that.
Yes.
In their life, who better to learn from than those who experienced there and had the memories there, so they can teach us. They're there to help us, actually. But I'm finding in the last few years, Waverly is a good example where it's almost like they're saying, okay, we know why you're here, so we're going to be your tour guide, and we're going to help you to learn what this floor was all about. We're going to show you what room I was in, and you know, it's becoming more and more of that now. There are some other locations that I've been to, and I've been to every one of them you can think of in the United States, and there are some in there that are choosing to be there because they want to be there. I gave a good example, a prison. You know, I've been in several abandoned prisons, and they're not still in prison there, but they want us to, again, they're there because they choose to be, and they know why we're there. That's the other thing. They think we're sneaking up. We think we're sneaking up on them, and we're really not. And they know why we're there. And so they will either help us or they'll be a little mischievous with us. But I feel like they're just there to help us to learn, because it's like if I came to your studio, I wouldn't know the first button to touch.
Right.
I would you there to show me which button to touch. It's the same thing when we go to these locations. They're there just to help us to learn what to see and what to know and what to learn.
Do you think that we should fear death, Rick?
No, because there's not.
My wife calls our body a meat suit.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Ask her if I can borrow that.
Oh, like my wife, God bless her. She is. She's not only my wife; she's my best friend, and she was a nurse for a number of years, and she saw many people cross. And you know, she'd come home and tell me stories about how when this person was getting ready to cross over, that they actually were met by people who had passed in their family that guided them or brought them to the other side. She said sometimes you'd smell flowers in a room. Sometimes you would feel an essence that wasn't there moments ago. And sometimes you actually, she says, you know, you're not going to believe this. And she said, oh, wait a minute, you will. She saw an essence leave the body, you know? So she calls, once the essence or the soul leaves, she said, it's a meat suit. That's all it is. So please use it if you want.
I love it. I love it. And she's incredibly, that is as accurate as you could possibly see it, the way she's seeing it, because what this is, as I said, shared earlier, it's just a body for us to walk on this earth. You know, that's what it's for. And I don't use the word, you know me for years now. I do not put the word death or dead in my vocabulary, because that means an end. The definition means an end. We don't end. We just simply, as I shared earlier, we just go, I call it going into the next room of life. And that's what we're doing. We're still in life, but we're in just different rooms right now.
You know, doing this show over the years, I've come up with my own visualization. I visualize a wall filled with books. And when at the end of the chapter of this time, when we leave our meat suit, we go to the next book.
Yeah. I
love it. What's it like communicating with those on the other side?
It's fascinating. It's phenomenal. It's amazing. It's interesting. It's always, you never know what to expect a lot of times. You know, I do private consultations, and I'm thrilled to share that I think my clientele base now is over 37,000 in the 20 years. So yeah. So, you know, I get things sometimes that the messages I receive, it's like, I don't know where this is going, and then once I share it, it becomes a validation. Connecting with them and visiting with them is just simply having a conversation with someone and getting to meet them for either the first time, or if I get to know them a few times, you know, meeting another friend. And someone asked me the other day, they said, Rick, have you ever thought when you transcend, how many individuals in spirit you're going to be saying hi to? And I said, literally thousands and thousands, you know. So it's a conversation. And that leads me, Rob, to share real quick that I've had those that ask me, do you ever have anyone that doesn't want to speak with you?
Yeah, I was just going to ask you that.
I'm psychic.
I know that. I knew you were going to say that.
But, You know, my response to that is, if they choose not to, then they won't. You know, it's just simple, and I'm going to respect that. I'm not going to try to force them to talk with me. So I respect that. So it's just a conversation.
Where does reincarnation fit into the entire scenario, Rick?
Very good question, Rob. That's why I like being on the show. You always have some really good questions. So I struggled with that early in my career because I didn't know how to properly define it or share it. For the last several years, I put it this way, and it goes back. I continue to say this, but it can't be any more definite than what this statement. Life is learning, and you know, we're learning in this life, but we don't know what's like to be, just like with you and I. We don't know what it's like to be in another life, in another time zone, as a female going through a different type of life experiences. So I feel we have the choices to, if we choose to, when we go in spirit, if we choose to come back and go back into a body, we have the choice to do that, to learn. And then we have the choice to not return. So reincarnation is just simply a different, you go to school and you go from, you know, 1 year he's in the 3rd grade, next time he's in junior. That's what you're doing in reincarnation. You're graduating, you're learning, you're continually learning as you're leveling. So
I would imagine, Rick, that doing readings on the continuous basis that you do, crossing from this side to the other side, it must be very tiring for you. How do you keep up your strength, Rick?
I've said this for many years, and I'm saying it even more profound as I get older, Rob. It's, you know, the body tells you a certain age, you know. I'm at the end of each day, I'm physically exhausted, but I'm spiritually inspired, and the inspiration keeps me. You know, I've always shared in my life coaching, the mindset and the emotion set will affect your physical set. And so, you know, keep your mind young, keep your emotions positive, and it will take care of your body. And that's what I teach, and that's what I live. So yeah, so it's tiring, you know, but it's a good tiring. I mean, when I was in the corporate world, those many years, I'd go to bed and I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep well. Now, when I go to bed, I feel I've had a great day. I've had an inspiring day. I sleep well.
How do you deal with the grief that you must be faced with on a daily basis? You know, I would imagine talking to an adult, communicating with the other side to an adult is hard. But what about when a mother or father comes to you and asks you to communicate with their child who was taken away from them at such an early age? How do you deal with that, Rick?
I really wish there was some way, in my private consultations are very confidential. I don't record, take notes or anything like that. They're more than welcome to, but I really wish there was a way that you could see how, when they come in, you see the grief. You know, there's different grief stages, and you see that different from every individual. But there's different grief stages. For the example that you're sharing, when they come in, they're distraught. They feel defeated. They feel like it's total loss. Life is over. But by the time we begin sharing the messages and sharing the validations that only they know, then it gives them an understanding that their child, for example, is not gone. They are simply in the next room of life. And so, and you watch these individuals go from defeated grief to hope and belief and faith. And their energy not only changes, but you see their expression as well. And you see the expression in their eyes. The sadness is dissipated, and it's become more and more of, you know, my child is still living. My child is still around. And sometimes people ask me, they say, well, aren't you kind of leading them that way? Not really. You know, it's what I give and it's what I share. As you know, I'm not one to begin by asking you what questions do you have or what's the first name of the person you want.
Right. Yeah.
I respectfully let them come through. So it may not be the child, it may be the grandmother that comes through first. But what I found is that they know why we're together. And so those will come through, and they will give the messages of, you know, I look at it this way. They come in with the message and say, I'm okay, you know, and that's a pretty general statement, but I'm okay. I'm still living. I'm still around you. And, you know, and I always share when someone leaves, I always say, you leave here believing what you believe. You don't have to believe in me. You don't have to believe in what I share. You believe what you feel inside. That's the key.
Rick, stand by. You and I have to take our break at the bottom of the hour. And X Zone Nation, our guest this hour is psychic medium Rick Hayes. He's the real thing, X Zone Nation. Visit his website. And Rick, people can contact you for your private readings and consultation online, can they?
Absolutely. They can go to my website. It's an exclusive website. It's LifesGift.com. And also, I'm all over social media and everywhere else.
Yes, you are, in a nice way. Please stand by, Rick. We'll be back after this break as the X Zone continues with yours truly, Rob McConnell, special guest Rick Hayes, and I will be back. Don't go away. And we're back. Rick Hayes is my special guest, LifesGift.com. And I understand you're into life coaching now as well.
Yes, I am. It's been about 8 years now. And I actually I share in life coaching that one path may lead you into another path. Just follow that path. And that's what happened to me. I was having many individuals come in for psychic medium readings and connections and sessions. But at the very end, I was having many that were sharing with me, Rick, can you help me with my life each day? Because, you know, my marriage is on the rocks, or my career. I don't feel like I have a career. And so when I do something, I always want to learn from the very best. And that's what I did. He's very well known in the industry. I've followed him and take classes from him. I learned from him. I created my own program called Believe to Be a Better You. And I'm very happy to share that it's been about 7, 8 years now. Actually, about 6 years. It took me about 2 years to develop it, and for about the last 6 years. And again, we go back to I'm inspired because I see the changes of individuals coming from, you know, from feeling defeated, feeling defeated and feeling like they didn't know where their life was going, to changing their life, to, you know, those from that had just finished a marriage and didn't feel like they had a career, had a path ahead in another relationship, learned that relationship again, to individuals who were stuck in their career. And I'm happy to say a few of them has created their own successful businesses now. So it's always you know, that's why I'm in this industry. So, and, you know, doing what I do so many years, Rob, because I get so much inspiration. I should, you know, I don't know how to define it. It's people ask me, they say, you always seem like you're always positive. Yeah, I have days that I want to go and, you know, bang my head against the wall, but it's very temporary. It's very at the moment, because it is so inspiring every day. And by doing that, it makes you feel positive throughout your day yourself.
Rick, can you share a few of the tools you provide in your life coaching that may help somebody listening or watching tonight?
I can share what you do at the beginning of the day.
Okay.
Most people will start their day by getting up, looking at the clock and saying, oh, I got to be at work in an hour, run downstairs, grab their coffee, rush, and going out the door without even saying goodbye to their spouse or something like that. Yeah. And so what I share was, it just takes a few moments. When you wake up in the morning, first of all, say the word thank you, because you've been given a day like no one else. Right. So say thank you. And then think of 3 great positive blessings that you received the day before, and think about those. And give yourself, what you're doing is you're retraining your mindset to not to wake up and start the day being grumpy and grouchy. You're starting your mindset of saying this, feeling good and feeling positive. And then I do what I say: stand up, get out of bed, stand up, and do what I call raise the energy bar. And what it is, it's flowing the oxygen in your body. It's bringing the good energy into your body. You visualize a place that you feel very positive feel very positive and feel very good at. For me, it's an ocean, walking along the sandy beach. Right. You raise up and you imagine a bar above you, and you grab that bar and it's full of energy. You can feel the electricity going through. You bring it down, you inhale. And as you're doing this, you visualize that location or that place that you're in. You raise your hand, exhale when you raise it up, and you do that 7 times. You're balancing your body at the same time you're doing that. And then by the time you do all that, you will have a different mindset. You'll have a different perspective for the rest of the day. And by doing so, Rob, what will happen is things will start. You'll be amazed at how things will start coming into your life in that day, for example, and bringing good things in your life in that day. I don't want to sound like I'm saying you're going to be positive all the time, because you're going to have days when, you know, your boss may say something to you, might ruffle your feathers a little bit. But the difference is you're not going to embrace that. You're going to just touch that for the moment, feel it for the moment, and then let it go. And you'll find yourself a lot much better in your life, and things are happening in your life. So that's one of the tools I share. Excellent.
All this information on how they can contact you for your life course on your website as well?
Absolutely. Yeah, just go there and it's all there.
At LifesGift.com. Rick, with your abilities, where do you feel the world is now with all that's going on? Where are we going? I mean, besides hell in a handbasket.
Well, this to me is a time to observe, and you know, I don't feel like you should be critical. I feel like you should just observe what's going on in the world right now. You know, there are reasons why we're having this crime that we're having these gun issues we're having these viruses that we're having. There's reasons for it. And you got to look, and you've heard me share this for many years, for every challenge, there is a reward.
Right.
I feel like instead of getting yourself where you feel like it's affecting your life, instead observe it and say, what's this real world really saying? Is the world really saying we should maybe elevate ourselves a little bit and look at things differently? And should we not look at it as hell in a handbasket? We should look at it instead of saying, what can I learn from this? And is it really, really affecting me? And if it is, why is it affecting me? And what can I do? What can I do to change that? You know, you and I can't change the chaos of the terrorists that's going on and people going into schools and shooting it. We can't do it. We can't do that. But what we can do is elevate ourselves where we can help this world in some way.
I love your philosophy, Rick.
Thank you.
Stand by. We've got to take our Sorry about that, Rick.
It's okay.
Rick Hayes is our special guest, Exonation. His website is LifesGift.com, and we'll be back on the other side of this break as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada. My name's Rob McConnell. Whatever you do, don't go away, because we'll be right back as we wrap up this hour. Don't go away.
So I was watching the X Zone TV channel last night when I was abducted by aliens, and they kept repeating to me over and over again, simultv.com, simultv.com.
What's simultv.com?
That's what I asked them. They had it written on the side of their UFO.
How do you spell that?
UFO.
No, I mean simultv.com.
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 Right. simultv.com.
Interesting that you were abducted by aliens in a simultv.com UFO last night.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Now that you mention it, I remember now last night I was awakened from a deep sleep. My great-grandmother was standing there. She said she come from the hereafter to tell me about simultv.com. She even spelled it out for me.
simultv.com, sonny boy.
simultv.com.
simultv.com, sonny boy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Guys, you'll never guess what my psychic guru just told me.
simultv.com.
Exactly. Are you guys psychic too?
Of course.
We all know about simultv.com. simultv.com.
And speaking about SimulTV, don't forget www.50forfree.ca. That's 50, 50, FORFREE.ca, where you're going to be able to watch 50 of SimulTV's top channels, including the X Zone. You're going to have access to 90 video games in 5 languages. You're going to have access to thousands of videos on demand. Wow. And you know what? The best part? You get all this for free. Visit www.50forfree.ca for further information and when we are going to start opening up those channels for one and all to watch. Rick Hayes is our special guest, www.lifesgifts.com. First of all, Rick, I want to thank you for your time tonight, my friend, because I know it's very precious. And, it's always great talking to you. I thoroughly have enjoyed every conversation that you and I have had over the many years we've known each other.
Yeah, and it's been an honor, Rob, and I've been saying that every year, but I truly thank you and thank you for what you do in the media field, and I watched you grow too, my friend.
Yeah, you've also watched me get old.
Well, we just but our mindsets are young, right?
That is so true. That is so true. Speaking about that, Rick, any retirement plans for you?
You know what? I keep telling myself every year I'm going to change things and free up some time, and I always looked at retirement though as something you're tired of, and and I'm not tired. So I just, people ask me to do it. Well, when will I retire? And it's like, I guess the day I leave the physical body and go into, but then I won't retire because I'll probably be busy over there too. So, I don't see myself retiring. I just enjoy what I do.
Rick, when you go out shopping or if you go into an airport, a train station, I would imagine that spirit knows that you have the gift. Do they bother you?
It's crazy. It's now, just keep in mind though, again, they know that I'm living this life and I'm learning this life, so they're going to respect me.
Okay.
But yeah, I tend to and when I go into places, I tend to focus on, if I go into a restaurant for a meal, I tend to focus on my meal. But there are times, Rob, I'll be sitting there enjoying my meal. I'll look over at a table, and for example, a lady may be sitting there by herself. She's not really sitting there by herself because her husband's on the other side, sitting with her in spirit. Mm-hmm. So, but I'm not one that would go up to her and say, hey, by the way, I'm a psychic medium. I want to tell you this. I don't do that as well because I respect that lady as well, for example. And I've had times where I was pulled to share a message, you know, in a public place. And when I do that, I try to do it in the very best respectful way I can. But
sure.
Yeah, it's normal though. It's a normal life for me. You know, if I go in, it's been this way all my life. So if I go into going to school, I remember being in class, and I think I was a freshman or sophomore in high school, and my teacher was sitting up there and telling me about geometry and trigonometry and all this math stuff, which to this day I don't understand. But right next to him was another teacher who had passed, you know, a few years before that. I didn't know it at the time, but was standing there, kind of guiding this young teacher. You know, this is how you're going to teach the class. And
right.
So I remember times like that. But did I go up and tell the teacher I saw someone next to him? Absolutely not, because I didn't want to be expelled. So,
Rick, the time has come when we must say so long for this visit. But what are your final thoughts? What message would you like to give the X-Zone Nation tonight?
You've heard me say this every year, and it hasn't changed. Believe.
Plain, simple, and from the heart of Rick Hayes. Rick, thank you very much for sharing your time.
Thank
Always
you.
a great pleasure. And I look forward to the next time we meet here in the X-Zone.
Me too.
Good night, Rick.
Thank you.
X-Zone Nation, my guest this hour has been Rick Hayes, LifesGift.com. I'll be back on the other side of the news at the top of the hour at 6.5 minutes past as the X-Zone continues with yours truly, Rob McConnell, from our broadcast center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away.
Question: what is the name of the unique blend of coffee you get that has been formulated by a neurologist, a neurobiologist, and a pharmaceutical chemist? Answer: you get Beautiful Mind Coffee, a unique coffee blend that tastes great and has herbal ingredients that your brain will love, and it is not just coffee, it's brainalicious. Dr. Rathbone, Dr. Jang, and Dr. Winslow, the scientific team that created Beautiful Mind Coffee, decided to collaborate on a coffee focusing on brain health. As for those herbal ingredients found in Beautiful Mind Coffee, Dr. Rathbone, Dr. Jang, and Dr. Winslow, utilizing their combined extensive scientific research background, worked with many natural and herbal products until the exact formulation that is found in Beautiful Mind Coffee was created. With a unique scientific formula not found in any other coffee being sold or served, Beautiful Mind Coffee is the only coffee blend that contains 3 herbal ingredients found to aid in boosting your daily mental clarity and focus. Every cup of Beautiful Mind Coffee contains scientifically formulated amounts of maca root powder, green tea extract, and American ginseng, all supporting good brain health. Taking care of your brain's health now can help delay or prevent the onset of cognitive dysfunction, including dementia, Alzheimer's, and more general memory loss as you get older, just by enjoying the delicious flavor of our roasted coffee and herbal ingredients found exclusively in Beautiful Mind Coffee. Did you know that cognitive dysfunction also refers to deficits in attention, verbal and non-verbal learning, short-term and working memory, visual and auditory processing, problem-solving, processing speed, and motor functioning? For more on Beautiful Mind Coffee, the 3 scientists who formulated Beautiful Mind Coffee, and more details on the 3 unique herbal ingredients in Beautiful Mind Coffee, visit www.beautifulmindcoffee.ca. Beautiful Mind Coffee is now available online at amazon.ca and amazon.com. To order Beautiful Mind Coffee, visit www.beautifulmindcoffee.ca today.